AM 710 WEGG and 100.5 W263PE Rose Hill. This is the Community and Small Business Update with Lee Woodard on Surge Radio.
Good morning, Duplin County. I'm too close to the mic. This is Curt Simpson standing in for Lee Woodard on the Community and Small Business Update. Hope you're having a great day. Lee, I think, is driving back right now from Asheville after taking his daughter off to school at UNC Asheville. So they're having a good time. Hope. Don't think they can listen today, but maybe they'll catch us on YouTube later or something like that. This morning, we've got a cool guest. I've known Mary for a couple of years now, something like that. Mary James Ashley. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Curt.
How are you doing this morning?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. You're looking forward to filling the next hour with talk about quilts and all that kind of stuff?
I'm going to try.
Mary is just starting a new company here in Duplin County, and she's done that with the help of Lee and the folks at the Small Business Center, and it is called the North Carolina Quilting Company, LLC. Is that right?
That's correct.
Good deal. And she's just getting started on this, but she's got some cool plans and things. We're going to talk about all that today. Hope she doesn't give any trade secrets or anything like that, give away her her business plan. But I actually happen to have her business plan right here in front of me, so I can do that if I want. But well, Mary, tell us a little bit about you to start with. Just where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? All that kind of thing.
Born and raised here.
Mm-hmm. Local girl.
Very local. Very, very local. Grew up basically where River Landing is today.
Okay. Grew up in River Landing, you're saying?
Pretty much. Well, before it was River Landing.
Gotcha.
Graduated from Walls Rose Hill High School back in 93. Actually, that was May of 93. August of 93, I went to boot camp at RTC Orlando,
okay.
And I did 4 years in the Navy.
Okay, cool.
So I was stationed in, of course, Orlando for boot camp, Meridian, Mississippi for school, and my first duty station was PSD Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Okay.
Then I went to the USS Nimitz.
Okay.
And finished out my tour there and came home for a little bit and then moved to Virginia Beach. Got married, ended up in Chicago, Illinois working, moved back to Virginia Beach, and got divorced.
Virginia Beach is for lovers and divorcees.
Absolutely. There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
So we didn't have anything going on, and I only had my dad left at that point in time, and so I decided to move back.
Okay.
So that way,
which was when?
That
when
was
did you move back
probably about 2006,
okay.
2007.
Gotcha. So you're gone for about 13 years, something like that.
Gotcha. And really not that much had changed. I mean,
I think you're probably right.
Geographically speaking, I mean, the downtown area had definitely suffered here in Wallace.
Yeah, in Wallace.
117 corridor had suffered, and you actually started seeing some development there at 10 City once again.
Right.
And of course, there was River Landing.
Sure.
And it was shocking, but then again, not so shocking. And
in some ways, I guess you expect home to stay home. But
well, you have an idea of what home is,
right?
I mean, I think we all do. It's a place that you're supposed to know intimately, and then whenever you come back, there's a lot of things that have changed,
right?
On the landscape, but a lot of the ideas have remained the same.
Right. Gotcha. It was always a surprise to me, and I grew up in Beulahville. But I've lived here in Wallace now for about 15 years, and I go to Beulahville all the time. It's not like it's that far away. But folks in Beulahville, you're getting older. It's kind of weird. I haven't seen you in a while, see you for a few months or something like that, and all of a sudden, oh, yeah, they're getting older. I'm not changing at all. I'm just a dewy 18-year-old. But so you came back to Duplin County in 06 or so,
Right.
And your dad is here. Your mom has passed away.
Yes, my mom
When
passed
did
away
she pass away?
back in 2001. She was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So it really got me thinking
Sure.
about stuff. I mean, only child, only grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of the uber oldest child syndrome really
Gotcha.
kicked in. I was
I
always
need to
responsible.
come do something.
I
Yeah.
was always
Right.
responsible, very responsible before, but even after that, even more so, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And you start thinking about, okay, I'm coming up on probably about half of my life here,
Mm-hmm.
and start really thinking about, okay, how am I going to leave my mark? What's going to be my legacy
Mm-hmm.
to a certain degree? And okay, I need to start getting my ducks in a row about what it is that I want to do for the last half of my life.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, that's depressing me. But
Oh, come on.
no, we talked about this yesterday on Subway. It's true. We are close in age. I'm a little bit older than Mary. Not a great deal. But yeah, you do start thinking about those things when you reach the 40s. So
It's a magic number.
it is somehow a magic number, 40. But anyway, so you come home, and what do you do then when you get here in about 06? What?
Well, I had put all, I'd always worked.
Mhm.
And so I decided to take a little bit of time off and finish up my bachelor's finally.
Mhm. Okay.
And so I did that and ended up changing majors
Mhm.
from, I was a biology major
Okay.
to begin with, and then I actually took a world geography class, and it changed everything.
Okay.
And it
Well, you've seen the world, so at this point you're starting to study it.
exactly. I was very lucky to where whenever I was in the Navy, I got to see most of the Caribbean.
Mhm.
Traveled through most of the United States,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I was able to. Whenever I was on board Nimitz, I was stationed on the West Coast,
Okay.
up around Seattle, Washington area,
Mhm.
and traveled all over Asia and the Middle East. So
Gotcha.
it was interesting seeing
Mhm.
the different cultures, physical landscape. It was very eye-opening
Mhm. Mhm.
to a certain degree. I mean,
Gotcha.
it's definitely something that I would suggest travel, not
Sure.
necessarily military, but
Yeah.
but travel
I
whenever
think
you're
that ship
younger.
has sailed for me. I don't know that they would take me at this point anyway. So.
For most of us.
Yeah. Gotcha. And as you said the other day, like the Pacific Northwest doesn't bear a whole lot in common with Eastern North Carolina, does it?
Absolutely not. I mean, everything from the landscape
Mm-hmm.
to the cultures. I
Mhm.
mean, there's a very heavy Asian influence.
Right.
It's just a completely different way of life, which
Yeah.
is, you can't even really compare it to here.
Right. Yeah. I had the opportunity years ago to just take a vacation in Hawaii, and I was surprised by how it did not feel like America. It was beautiful. Good Lord, it was the most gorgeous place on earth, probably, but it was very Asian to me, and to the fact that you could get noodles in McDonald's.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, completely different feel, and totally get what you're saying there, and I understand the West Coast, and Ken could certainly tell us more about that. Is much more of an Asian influence there than the European as we have here.
Right.
So, all right. So finished up the bachelor's degree at UNCW
Right.
in geography.
Geography.
Okay, and you thought, what am I going to do with this geography degree?
Absolutely. Well, I actually studied urban planning and development with
Okay.
a minor in political science.
Mhm.
I was looking basically at planning,
Okay.
and never could find anything because it really is a closed field,
Mhm.
and I didn't see return on investment for graduate studies or for a master's degree
Right.
in public administration. Just didn't make any sense to
Right.
put out that money.
Right. Especially if you're going to stay in this area. I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Not a lot of urban planners here in Wallace. So I guess you'd kind of decided, despite some of the challenges that it might have, you had decided you were going to stay in this area.
Pretty much. I mean, my dad
Close to
is
family.
exactly. I mean, we have our family farm here. I'm the only one that's left. It's kind of
Sort of a sense of responsibility.
absolutely, absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay. Good deal. Okay. And the farm now is kind of between Wallace and
we're in-
Kenansville, sort
yeah.
of Rose Hill.
Well, we're in Teachie proper.
Teachie. Okay. Teachie proper. All right. Okay. Good deal. Possibly in the Okie Branch area.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I bring that up for a reason. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. So you've got the degree. You're working around in the area. You've done some work in the insurance business.
Correct.
Talk about that just a little bit, if you don't mind.
I have. It seems I started out in the Navy in human resources,
Okay.
and I was responsible for training and stuff like that whenever I was in. And whenever I got out, I'd started school just as liberal arts kind of thing. Took a biology class and was really piqued my interest.
Right.
And ended up getting married, and so had to start working. And my first job was, actually my second job after the military was with a multinational insurance brokerage company. Kind of got my feet wet. And it seems that I cannot get away from the insurance industry. It has changed over the past 15 years, very much so. It's not what it is that I went into.
Gotcha. It changed a little bit. Just to tell you a little story about me, most people probably don't even remember this. It was so short, but I did not have any trouble getting away from the insurance industry. I was given an opportunity, and I appreciated the opportunity. It was not for me. So, but that is how we kind of got to know each other. And Mary knew tons more than I ever did, and certainly with good reason. She's got tons more experience at it. But that's not necessarily the passion that you've got. That's
absolutely not. I mean, I enjoy the
sugarcoat it.
I enjoy the risk management part,
right?
Looking at cause and effect,
Gotcha.
and trying to mitigate a lot of risk, because that's one thing that we all should do.
Right.
Is try and stop things before they happen.
Sure.
That could injure, hurt, maim, or definitely cause loss.
Right.
Whether it be property or a person. So trying to minimize that is definitely an interest, but no, it's not a passion.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. So let's fast forward a bit to about 2013 or so, something like that, when we kind of got to know each other. We're sitting there in the office, and unfortunately I didn't have a whole lot of appointments, so we had plenty of time to talk. And we're talking about different things that we do enjoy doing, and one of the things that you really like to do, and you even did a little bit for me, was sewing. And
it's therapy. It's absolutely therapy, because you don't once you get to a certain point, you're really not thinking about it. You're just kind of involved in the motions.
Gotcha.
And your mind can wander whether you're satisfying a curiosity thinking about something, or you're just reflecting to a certain degree.
Gotcha.
I mean, you're just kind of doing. And people see you doing something, and they kind of leave you alone.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's somewhat relaxing, and it allows you to think.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So is that something you had been doing for years then? I mean, did your mom teach you to do that?
Absolutely. My mom was a wonderful seamstress. She made most of my clothes growing up. Here in the South, I think that, well, I would like to think that it's common. She had hopes of me getting married and having this wonderful family. She ended up making a bunch of quilts and embroidered sheet sets and pillowcases, and that was supposed to go into my hope chest for hope of a wonderful life.
Gotcha.
And
all laid out just as
absolutely everything was planned.
2.4 kids and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And no, none of that happened, thank goodness. So came out relatively unscathed.
Okay. Gotcha.
Just realized that no, marriage is not for me.
Gotcha.
And but yeah, I learned at my mother's knee how to make things. And you've also got to be somewhat creative. You've got to have a very active imagination in trying to put the pieces together. And it's construction, but construction with fabrics and threads and different patterns. So
Gotcha.
it's interesting.
Gotcha. So if you would like go into a fabric shop or something like that with your mom, were you like interested in that? You see, I was going to say, I used to go with my mother to a fabric shop occasionally, and she'd be trying to find some upholstery or something like that. And it was just the most boring store ever.
Absolutely. I would have a lot rather have
It was
been
awful.
I would have a lot rather have been at Sears riding up and down the escalator.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Versus being at a fabric store whenever I was a kid.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
Being at home, because being out and about, especially, I guess, being 70s and 80s kids, being able, going to Wilmington was a treat.
Right. Yeah, you didn't do it every week.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it was maybe once every 3-4 months we would go, and it was for something specific. And it was just, I don't know. Being in the fabric store was absolute drudgery.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. I was making sure that I wasn't weird.
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
So even the seamstress doesn't like the fabric store.
Well,
Or
as
didn't
I
like it. Okay, gotcha.
Whenever I was a kid, now whenever I got up to a teenager, I started actively picking out fabrics.
Okay.
And the different types. I mean, you definitely have to feel. It has to feel good to you.
Right.
It has to be visually appealing to you.
Sure.
So it's a whole sensory thing.
Gotcha.
But no, not in the beginning.
Okay. Well, I also remember now my grandmother used to quilt a lot, and actually sponsored by James Sprunt Community College. she had a quilting class that would meet in this little building, this little wooden building in Cedar Fork, North Carolina, just outside of Beulahville. And she and some other elderly ladies would meet there just about every couple of weeks at least. And I never quite understood why they called it a quilting class, because they all knew what they were doing.
Absolutely.
They didn't really have any instruction or anything, and they just made patchwork quilts. And I've got some of them, and I love those now.
Absolutely.
At the time that she gave them to me, I was a teenager, and I'm like, "Ugh, whatever." But but they mean a lot to me now.
Absolutely.
So.
Do you find that as you got older, it seemed that you grew a more emotional attachment
Absolutely.
to them?
Oh,
But
yeah.
do you think
Yeah.
it was because of, not just because of the quilt, but
It's
because
grandma's
of,
hands put that quilt
exactly.
together. Exactly. That. Absolutely, it did. Are they the colors that I would necessarily choose? Is it a pattern I would necessarily choose? Absolutely not. No. I mean, and it was made from stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, patchwork. Yeah, but
don't you find it though interesting that they were being sustainable?
Oh yeah, they were.
Way
Absolutely.
back in the day. I mean,
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it
what-
is a cool thing that it took me years to.
Well, one of the
get into.
interesting things in a lot of quilts that are 20th century and back. Basically from the 1900s and back, is that you would actually, if you take apart those quilts, you would find another quilt inside of it.
Really?
Because in a lot of instances, those old quilts would be so beyond repair that they would just basically sandwich it, because
Gotcha.
you would still have that
Just a little
batting.
bit thicker quilt.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Well, that's pretty cool. Had no clue. So, your mom made quilts herself, or
Very prolific
or
quilter.
Okay.
Very prolific
Did she
quilter.
work with other ladies when she did this?
No,
or
it was a
just
solitary
completely
thing
by
for
herself?
her, because she was not from around here. She was from Appalachia.
Okay.
She grew up very poor, and that was one of the things that she did. Was quilt. It gave her that was definitely therapy for her as well.
Gotcha.
And we lived in a 2-story house, and her quilting frame was set up basically in the first floor. And I remember as a teenager, she just got on a quilting bench. She was making one about every 2 weeks.
Good gracious.
Full
Wow.
size.
Wow.
I mean, and she was very exact. It was a matter of pride, I think.
Right.
It was very interesting to see her diligence in the actual process. Everything from sewing the blocks together to putting it on the frame, deciding on a quilting pattern, and seeing her hunched over, and finally being invited
to help.
to partake,
Right,
I guess
right.
is a good way to put it. Because my mother did not need any help whatsoever, with that. Because
in
that
fact,
was,
you were probably more of a hindrance at first.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because even now, whenever I hand do anything, I still hear her voice in my head saying, "Now, Mary, that's too tight. Loosen it up a little bit." So, I mean, everything from crocheting to quilting. I still hear her voice in my head, even though it's almost been 20 years.
Wow.
So those things stick with you, I think.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, absolutely. The lessons from a way back, they don't go away. So,
No.
Yeah. So you kind of pick it up on your own. At what age do you think you started kind of doing it?
With the
without your
quilting,
mom?
probably about 16.
Okay. So you made some completely on your own when
Yeah.
you were 16 years old. Do you still have those?
Absolutely.
Okay. I was going to ask, what did she do with all those quilts? I mean, when she became so prolific and was making them so, did she sell them, or
No,
did she
they
give
were
them away?
they were for my hope chest.
Oh, wow.
That was
That's a full hope chest.
I can't even. I probably have close to 20 quilts that she.
Oh, wow.
She made.
Wow.
Everything from wedding ring design to hummingbird, bear claw, a lot of your traditional North American designs, and it's of course there's patchworks in there as well, and I remember whenever I was in the Navy, I was stationed in Cuba, and it was cold in my barracks room, and I was talking to her about it. And she was like, "I can fix that." And I get a notice through the mail from the postal service. We had our post office down there, that I had a box, and I was like, "Well, what in the world?" And
Cookies?
go down to the post office, and there's this huge box waiting for me. My mom had, Lord. She had made a quilt and put all kinds of goodies in this box.
Cool.
So I have been sleeping on that one quilt since I've got it. I haven't had too many nights away from it.
Wow.
It's I'm kind of like
It's your Linus.
Linus exactly with the blanket.
It's Linus and the security blanket. That's
exactly.
Cool. Yeah.
I mean, whenever Ronnie was in the hospital, my boyfriend. I didn't have it, and it was it was a very restless night's sleep there. Anyways, in the hospital, when
Sure,
I didn't have that comfort there.
Yeah.
So it was bad.
Gotcha. And just to give a little background to that, Ronnie is her boyfriend. He was injured. How long ago has that been now? It's been
About
a year?
a year and a half.
Gotcha. Okay. So you just kind of sat with him for that time. He was messed up.
Did we sit around? Well,
So-
he laid around. So.
Right. Gotcha. But he's doing good now. Doing
good.
pretty well. I saw him yesterday. So, okay. So, and we still haven't started talking about your company, and it is almost 9:30. I'm sorry about that, but this is just how it goes with us. We just talk. So, and if you have questions or want to give us a call, you're certainly welcome to give us a call here in the studio. The number is 910-289-2031. That's 289-2031. You are listening to the Community and Small Business Update, sponsored by James Sprunt Community College and the Small Business Center at James Sprunt Community College. How'd I do, Bill? Bill Butler is trying to keep me straight on all that, and I will give a phone number out as well. James Sprunt has all sorts of different programs and things. You can look them up on the web, or you can give them a call at 296-2400. And as Lee Woodard would say, there is no wrong door. So if you call that number, they'll get you to the place that you need to be. So, how long have you known Lee? From the Small Business
It's
Center?
because of you, Curt.
I thought so. Making introductions.
Absolutely.
So we had been talking there in the office, and then I left the office, started my own business, but
Right.
Due to the miracle of internet technology, we were able to talk across the street.
Absolutely.
By Facebook Messenger most of the time. And, she had been, Mary had been talking about this quilting idea for a while, and starting a business. And Lee and I have been good friends for years now. And he had started working with the Small Business Center. And I just thought that it might help you to get rolling a bit with this idea.
And did it.
If you were to get introduced to Lee. And I have suggested people to Lee before, and I don't think they ever called. But I don't know if you called him or if he called you. But anyway, you somehow got hooked up.
Right. Once again, thank goodness for technology. I sent him an email.
Okay.
And almost immediately, I got an email back saying, we need to meet. And so we met.
Gotcha. Okay, well, how did that first meeting go? Did you tell him all your plans, all your dreams, all your hopes, all your fears, all that kind of
Well,
thing?
I had actually been working on a business plan, and
He loves those.
it's a roadmap, and my roadmap has evolved, devolved, expanded, contracted, you name it. It has gone through some work, that's for certain. One thing that I did know is that I wanted to be geographically based.
Okay.
Because that's one thing that I enjoy is geography. So the name of the company, the name of the quilt line specifically, it all marries together in some way or fashion or form.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
the first meeting with Lee, I would like to think that it went rather well.
Apparently it did. I mean, you continued on. So.
Yeah, so I mean, one thing I will say about Lee is he keeps you on track and helps keep you focused on what it is that you're doing and what it is that you want to do. And I know I needed that. So it's been very helpful. Very helpful.
Gotcha. Kind of funnel things down into a
Absolutely.
manageable
And
range,
not
I
only
guess.
that, but consider things that you wouldn't normally consider. And I'm one of those people where I end up saying, I was thinking, and that can be dangerous.
Right.
Because usually it is.
Yeah.
I get myself
she's
in
thinking again.
all sorts of trouble.
Yeah.
So wound up meeting with him, discussing, getting some ideas going, researching, and just kind of okay, now's the time to actually do something.
Gotcha.
So
okay, so pulled the trigger about when?
Well, I met with Lee. It was like December of year before last.
Okay.
And so
A little over a year now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I guess it was back in October whenever I actually filed for the LLC, made contacts overseas, and I got my first line of products in November.
Okay.
So it was a little bit behind schedule, but it was well worth the wait.
That's okay.
Well worth the wait.
I don't think anybody is actually holding you to a schedule other than yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the name of the company is
North Carolina Quilting Company.
Okay.
Named it for expansion and growth.
Okay.
Tells you, I don't know about you, but I wanted people to know exactly what it was we were doing,
Sure.
or what it was I was doing.
Right.
And I don't think I could get any better than that.
Yeah. I mean, it's
pretty self-explanatory.
Right. I mean, you could get really creative with the name and nobody have a clue what you're doing.
Exactly.
So, or where you are or anything like that.
I'm very literal.
Right.
So
right.
I think it's reflective of me.
Gotcha. And much like the old business, unfortunately, which is now out of business, Just Pants.
Yeah.
You don't do just quilts, though.
No.
So talk about that a little bit, and talk about the Oaky Branch thing. I think that's just kind of cool.
Oaky Branch. Well, I had first started out thinking I wanted to name the company Oaky Branch Quilting Company because our property is bordered on one side by the Oaky Branch. And come to find out that North Carolina Quilting Company was available, so I went that route, and then I said, well, I'm going to go with an Oaky Branch line.
Gotcha.
And I had thought about producing my own quilts. Well, unsure of the market, that investment in time, expense, it was a lot.
Right.
And so what I ended up doing with my interest in geography, and because I'd traveled, I knew that other places made quilts, spreads, throws in their own traditional designs. So I've been very interested in India for quite some time. I think it was because of PBS. Back in the 80s, there was the Jewel in the Crown.
Okay.
And that miniseries is just, I remember sitting in front of the TV and thinking about how exotic that place was. And
got elephants.
Absolutely. Tigers, the heat of it. It was just, it resonated with me. And so I got to looking, and I knew a little bit about the different things that they did, especially with the sari. And I was also interested in something that was completely sustainable, to where it was basically a reuse of materials, or not just a reuse, but like for the hand printed items. I mean, to me, it's a dying craft, and if people don't continue to use it, well, then it will no longer exist.
Sure.
And then you'll have a lot of people. For number one, you'll have a lost art.
Right.
And no art should be lost. That's how I think. And back to it, I ended up vetting out several companies that would work with small groups of artisans, and wound up meeting a lady named Satui, and they do a type of patchwork quilt. It's made out of recycled, or not quilt, but spread, because it's just 2 layers. Quilt's 3 layers. And it's a big cover. Well, it can be used for traditional use, non-traditional use. Whenever I say non-traditional use, you can use it as a wall hanging.
Right.
You can use it as a covering for a table. however it is that you want to use it is acceptable.
Sure.
I mean, there's really nothing off limits
Right.
with these types of products.
Gotcha.
You've got to, I think you need to have a more exotic taste, to say the least.
So this is not your traditional Eastern North Carolina
No,
patchwork quilt.
absolutely not. They, I think they're very special. They're one of a kind, handmade. Once again, you will never see another one like it anywhere.
Right. Gotcha.
The one that you have in your home is the only one
It's
like
one
it.
of a kind. Yeah. Brilliant colors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
I've seen them. Yeah.
once again the exoticness of it, the vibrancy. It's. I would like to think that whenever you have to have an emotional attachment to it. If it talks to you, I would like to think that particular piece belongs with you.
Gotcha. And I guess, and this just occurred to me, to make this sort of multimedia experience for someone listening right now, if they're sitting in front of a computer, they can go see these quilts or examples anyway.
Right, it's on
the website.
Facebook, and I do have the website up, ncquiltingco.com.
So ncquiltingco.com, basically quilting
Exactly.
company. Okay.
Or
Gotcha.
either Google North Carolina Quilting Company, and it'll pop
Okay.
right up.
Oh, cool. Very good. So working on that search engine optimization.
Absolutely.
Lee would be so proud.
I try.
Very good. Now, so you got hooked up with this lady. Tell me her name again.
Statui. I'm not even going to attempt her last name. It's
Okay.
like 24 letters long.
Yeah. We'll just call her Jones. And she is in India. What
Yes,
part of India is
she's
she?
in Delhi.
In Delhi. Gotcha.
Which is essentially northwest. Granted, well, it's India proper. You do have part of India that goes a little bit up and over Bangladesh, right there on the Nepal line.
Okay.
You see a lot of earthquakes because of the Himalayas being
Right.
there, and that's a relatively new mountain chain.
Gotcha. With really tall mountains. So, does she make these throws and spreads herself, or is she working with different ladies?
She's
or
specifically
not
working
necessarily ladies.
with a small village, and basically that's what these women do.
Okay.
In their free time to make extra money. And a lot of research tells us that one way out of poverty is through education.
Sure.
And here in the U.S., we are very lucky that we have publicly funded education. Most places overseas, you're developing in third world countries, it isn't free.
Right.
It's to be paid
Right.
for.
Sure.
So one thing that I hope to do is basically help kids that want an education. And I am yet to hear of a child overseas their parents turning down a way for their kids to get schooling. I was talking to Stewie, and come to find out she was actually educated through Catholic missions. Her parents had actually sent her away at a very young age.
Gotcha.
Just for schooling.
Despite the fact that she's Hindu, she did not
No.
allow that to.
No. I mean, she knows more about Christianity than what a lot of people do. But she is a practicing Hindu, and it's very interesting considering that it's a religion, it's a way of life that has been around for longer than Christianity. So it's definitely interesting hearing those, hearing that point of view. Her lifestyle is completely vegan. Very conscientious of what it is that she does, and trying to further the art of what it is that they do. Their making of things. So
Gotcha.
it's interesting.
Yeah. I'm assuming you found her by the internet.
I did.
You didn't just start calling or anything like that?
I got my idea and just started, doing research. And I'm a night owl, so I would stay up till probably 4 o'clock in the morning some night or some mornings.
Gotcha.
Catch a couple of hours sleep, go to work for a day job.
Right.
And it just kind of it sustained itself.
Okay. I remember you saying, I don't remember exactly when this was, but when you made your first order, it was kind of a little fear and trepidation there. It's like, what am I doing?
Absolutely. Well, for number one, you're sending a large amount of money overseas.
Right.
You have to.
Has to be a level of trust there.
Well, I'm not going to say trust, but and I don't even know if I want to use the word faith because you just don't know. You just have to step out there, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I have to go back to the drawing board on this.
Right. Gotcha.
And it has worked out like gangbusters so far.
Well, that's good. That is very good. So you get your first order in, and you obviously you like what you see.
Oh my God! I ordered close to 40 to begin with.
Wow.
They were hand printed spreads, which is 2 layers. Hand quilted in the traditional Kanatha straight stitch design that you find in northern India. And I ordered, I guess it was about 15 of the elaborates, and those are a patchwork design. Everything is recycled from Syria. Even the threads are recycled. It's very tonal. You'll see oranges, everything orange, everything red, everything navy blue, everything black.
So one spread won't be a patchwork of different colors. It will all be kind of within the same.
In some instances, normally it will be within the same family, though.
Okay, gotcha.
And I ordered some that I thought that were really special. I'd call them an embellished throw. And every square inch of this throw, it's 46 by 80. Standard size. It was very heavily done in embroidery beading. You would see rhinestones. You would see all kinds of dimension to it, whether it be sparkly or just. It was definitely not just two-dimensional, to where you had the front and the back. It was it kind of stands out, and it's very unusual to say the least. I mean, if you love the bling, you would love these.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's what I hear around here.
Well, yeah, and people do love those jewel tones and things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, not just jewel tones, but also actually having rhinestones on it. I mean, there isn't a square inch on these things that don't have something dangling.
Kind of a Vegas thing
Absolutely,
going on there.
Absolutely. And
that's cool.
One of the
Grandma didn't make anything like that.
No, Grandma, she would have been absolutely shocked. I think about my mother whenever I look at these, and she would. I can see her in my mind just standing over them, just marveling over the detail.
Yeah. So you think she would have liked them?
Oh, I think she would have loved them.
Yeah, cool. I don't know if Grandma would have, but
I don't know either.
She was kind of conservative, but anyway, that is so cool. So then, okay, you've got these things and you love them, but you're not here just to collect them.
No,
you actually want to sell some.
Exactly, because you want to promote that other countries also make beautiful things.
Sure.
And that's how the Okie Branch line came about. Once again, geographically based. And so the Okie Branch is going to be the ethnic line of spreads and throws. and it's been interesting getting them on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
on the website, taking pictures,
Mm-hmm.
Trying to put them in the best light, because y- seeing a picture is completely different than actually seeing anything in person.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's complicated trying to convey
Mm-hmm.
one dimension, something that's three dimension.
Yeah, you can't feel it.
No.
You don't see how light it is or how heavy it is or anything
Exactly.
like that. You just got to try and get the colors in there as much as you can, I
Absolutely.
guess. Yeah.
Because I would like to think that is, whenever you see somebody, either you're attracted or you're not attracted.
Mhm.
I would like to think that it's the same way about things.
Mm-hmm.
Either you like it or you don't.
Right.
And if you don't, well, then this line is not for you.
Gotcha.
But I think that people would find them very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, and apparently some have sold.
Yeah.
So,
We've sold
how'd you go about doing that?
internet, number one, and actually formed a little mini alliance
All
to a
right.
certain degree with a local boutique owner,
Okay.
Cindy Merritt and Karen Powell at Forever Southern here on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
They
Okay.
have Okie, North Carolina Quilting Company display.
Oh, cool.
And so we've sold quite a few there,
Uh-huh.
sold some on the internet.
Great. Great.
And so it's
Selling for Christmas gifts and things like that, you think? Or?
Well, I don't know if it's some people have bought them for Christmas presents, I
Mhm.
think, but a lot of people just bought them because they fell in love with it.
Mhm.
They
Okay.
they have that emotional
I'm not giving this away.
attachment.
I want to
Exactly.
buy it. I'm going to keep it.
But, well, like I said before, they are one of a kind.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
once that one leaves, there will never
Won't
be
be
another
another
one
one
like it.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think the idea of that is, it kind of hits some people.
Mhm.
I was talking to Cindy last night, and she was talking about the first one that she saw,
Mhm.
and she absolutely fell in love with it, and she regrets letting that go. Because, and I would like for somebody to have an emotional attachment whenever they see it, because you're going to involve it in your life.
Right.
It will, whenever you look at it as the years go by,
Mhm.
you want good memories associated with it.
Sure.
And that it's something that you can pass on to your kids, to your grandkids, nieces, nephews, whoever.
Right, right.
Because they are made that way.
Mhm.
And with that in mind.
Gotcha.
And you would like to, well, Uncle Curt, had this on his wall.
Right. Uh-huh.
And, well, Uncle Curt was, great. And,
Mm-hmm.
you want those thoughts going through somebody's head whenever they're reusing it
Right.
after you leave this earth.
Gotcha. I'm going to have to start improving how they feel about Uncle Curt.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get that attachment with some of my stuff. I don't know. So, all right. So they are available at Forever Southern.
Right.
You can get them there, and you also did some things with some Christmas stockings.
Right.
So talk about that a
Well,
little
I
bit.
gotten some samples and ended up taking them apart because I really wasn't feeling the samples.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And I don't like this.
pretty much.
Nice try,
And
Stewie.
So what I ended up doing is actually doing a Christmas stocking pattern, cutting it out, and sewing up Christmas stockings out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's went over pretty well as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, cool. So really just kind of getting started here.
Very much so.
Yeah. So, so what do you have in mind from here? Where do you want to take this? And
Well, I would definitely. I mean, I would like to think that it's a multi-phase plan. So
it is, because I have the plan right here. She's shown it to me.
First part is trying to help out others, especially for me in my mind, in developing third world countries. And how we do that is through the ethnic quilt line, through education and paying fair price. fostering that relationship. Phase 2 is looking more into here locally, education about, well, backtrack a little bit, not too many times go by to where somebody doesn't mention that they wish that they knew how to sew, how they wish they knew how to quilt. And starting the hobby is relatively expensive. I mean, a sewing machine is, somewhere between $100 and $150. You have bobbins, you have thread, needles,
Right.
all the specialty type of things. You need space. One thing, and we were talking about this yesterday, is availability of material, availability of machines. Only place that we have here in town is Walmart.
Right.
And either you can go to Wilmington like I normally do to get supplies, or you can order them off the internet and wait normally about a week, 2 weeks for it to come in. But it would be nice to be able to actually have a storefront and sell fabric notions, offer a safe place for people to learn that's free of pretension, because it should be fun.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
why do it otherwise?
Absolutely.
I guess if you get into it and really get good at it, then maybe you can get pretentious.
Exactly.
But when you're learning, you certainly wouldn't want to do that.
Absolutely. And whenever this was me. I mean, it was different because it was my mother. But whenever you are learning, you don't necessarily want somebody to throw around that they are a master or an expert.
Right.
I mean, I just want somebody to be who they are, and so I can be comfortable with them and asking questions.
Sure.
Normally, you can't do that whenever there's that level of expertness that's thrown about liberally.
Right. Gotcha. So, and one of the things that I was really kind of struck by in your plan here is the fact that you've got kind of some real ideals that you want to follow, and that is unusual. You're not in this necessarily to make money. I mean, obviously you don't want to lose money at it, right? But you've got some kind of higher-minded ideals with the whole education issue, kind of fighting poverty, that sort of thing, and that's I think very admirable. So,
well, once again, you hit 40,
right?
You start thinking about. Well, how am I going to leave my mark on this world? It's such a big place, but then again, it's such a small place. Right.
You can do it kind of on an individual basis.
Absolutely.
Rather than not trying to set up any big organization or anything like that. Just helping out some ladies in a little village.
At some point in time, it loses that personal touch.
Right.
And it's not part of you anymore whenever it gets so big. I would rather stay small and be able to pack things the way that I want to pack things, to where it feels like a gift whenever you open it. I want people to know that there's some thoughtfulness there. And to me, that's important. Sure. I would like to be comfortable, but it doesn't take much to make me comfortable.
Right.
So,
gotcha.
I mean, at some point in time, you have to be satisfied.
Right.
And finding satisfaction in what it is that you do, how it is that you do it, it has become more important than a lot of things.
Yeah. One of the things I noted, we're kind of drawing out a business plan in this plan that you gave me there, and you were looking at your competition, and it was 100% Walmart.
Yes.
And Walmart is a great thing to a degree. They certainly bring prices down. They bring merchandise to areas that were really previously kind of underserved.
Absolutely.
Quite frankly, Wallace is a small town. Burgaw is a smaller town. Richlands is a small town, and they've all got Walmarts now. And I know that there are certain things that certain businesses that feel that Walmart kind of killed them. But at the same time, you don't necessarily see Walmart as real competition because you're not offering the same thing.
No, I'm not offering the same service. I'm not
Right.
offering the same items.
Yeah.
I really don't see it as a competition at all. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
just
it's
a
a place
different-
where I go whenever. I
Sure.
mean, I have to go there to get supplies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I also go to the grocery store whenever I have to go get supplies.
Right.
I'm not bound
Mm-hmm.
by any means umbilically to Walmart or any other store.
Uh-huh.
If they have what it is that I need,
Mm-hmm.
I
You'll
go
get
in
it
there.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I was impressed, and we've talked about this several times, and I just keep going back to it. I read Sam Walton's book years ago, and I was so struck. It was a really good book. If anybody ever wants to read it, it's probably in the bargain bin by this point. You can get it for a matter of nothing. It's called Made in the USA. But I think I probably picked it up with the impression that Sam Walton was an evil man. He's not in the least, or was not in the least. And one of the things he talked about was the fact that, Walmart had the reputation of being a competition killer. And in some ways they are. They pretty much killed Kmart.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, the small business, the North Carolina quilting companies, the hardware stores, that sort of thing, can offer things that they could never possibly offer.
Absolutely. I mean, like
and service, for one thing.
It's like Ace. I mean, you can go there. They have that light section that is absolutely wonderful. You can go in and talk to Sammy, and he can lead Sammy or Floyd, and they lead you to exactly where it is that you need, and you have choices on what it is that you pick from.
Right.
You go into Art of Hope, and you see original pieces.
Right.
Specialty framing. You can go a little bit further down the street, and you can get a T-shirt that's designed specifically for you or your organization.
Sure.
You're not going to find that at a large multinational retailer.
Right.
And you're going to pay a little bit more for the service, but it's service.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, these are your neighbors. These are people that, in most instances, their kids play with your kids. I would like to think that we would want our community to succeed, whether it be in your quote-unquote downtown businesses, which are normally mom and pop run, or on the outskirts of town, because they still employ locals. So it can all fit together, and I don't see why it can't.
Yeah.
But there needs to be a bridge to a certain degree of understanding that everybody has their place.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, we have just about killed an hour here, Mary. I will remind folks that this will be uploaded to the YouTube channel, so you can see anything that you might be interested in watching this. If you joined us late or anything like that, you can listen to the entire program again. And maybe favorite it and share it on the internet and all this kind of stuff. But definitely check out North Carolina Quilts. Give us that website address again.
www.ncquiltingco.com.
Okay.
And like I said, we're
Got the
also on
page as well.
Facebook.
Okay, good deal. And easy to find on Facebook. And my guest today has been Mary James Ashley. You can also find her on Facebook, and you can find me on Facebook. My name is Curt Simpson, and you have been listening to the Community and Small Business Update as sponsored by James Sprunt Community College and the Small Business Center at James Sprunt Community College. And Erica, are we just about done here? All right. Well, thanks a lot, and join us next week with somebody. Have a great day.